Jake wants all these things to happen, like if Dana can just sign off and the shit happens.
I don't think he can.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
we are back with our first virtual interview with the Thick Boy Podcast. Our guest today is Mac Mo Green, mixed martial artist, owner and co-founder, or founder and owner of Major Pack, a cannabis. How would you describe it, Mac?
we're a cannabis culture company is what we are.
Cannabis culture company. Before we start, though, I want to give a shout out to all our sponsors. The top one, number one, Phallon, Dunn at Top Mutt Studio. Major Pack, as always. We always give them a shout out. Gas Dank, Kimura, Mo Mind, Bearded Bites, Blessed Edibles, all the gyms we train at, 10th Planet, Battle Arts, Niagara Top Team. If I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. Like I said, it's been a few weeks. We've been trying to get this virtual thing going. My restaurant, you already know. My restaurant shout out today. I'm gonna give another shout out to a spot that we've been going to. We've given shouts before. Is Huervo's Gourmet. As you guys know, we're going through another situation lockdown here, so want to give them another shout. They're still doing takeout even during all this. They've stayed solid, so keep supporting them. Mac, what's your restaurant shout out from Kansas City?
Man, my KC restaurant shout out is no other than Luffy's.
Luffy's hood classic. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So good. Where can people find Luffy's? Like, where's it located? What you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. If you're in Kansas City, man, there's Luffy's on both sides of the water. If you're from KC, you know we got Kansas and Missouri. So there's one on 63rd Street on Missouri side. There's also one on 350 Highway on the Missouri side. I think there's one in Johnson County, bro. There's one on
There's a Luffy's in the county?
Bro, there's one on Shawnee Mission Parkway.
Okay, y'all moving out there so much they had to bring the hood to the suburbs. And you know what? Let me take. You know what? And my actual shout out, I'm gonna give a shout out to a restaurant in Kansas City. Go Chicken Go.
Yeah,
the best fried chicken in the world. I don't care what nobody's talking about. Anybody in Kansas City want to debate, they can. Right off Truce, across the street from Rockhurst where I went. So I'm gonna give my shout out actually to Go Chicken Go. For y'all in Kansas City that don't know, best fried chicken in the city. My boy Mac supports it, so I know I'm on to something. So Mac, I've been wanting to get you on the show forever since we basically started this. That's why I wanted you to be our first virtual Zoom guest. I've known you since youngins, since we was 10, 12 years old, since we've been fighting in the streets to now doing martial arts for real. Just gotta tell people your origin story, how you got into mixed martial arts, your athletic background, then how Major Pack came about and what made you want to get into that business, and just give us your origin story and how you got to where you are now.
For sure. I'm Mac Mo Green. Appreciate you having me on, fam.
Of course, man.
But yeah, man, I started doing football. I was a big football player all my life. Grew up playing football, played always, man, and everything I've done, I've always played with freaking freak athletes, man. Just like even growing up playing football, like I was always playing against Darren Sproils. I'm a defensive guy.
Yeah, I remember.
Bumping
our asses. I remember those games vividly.
Literally, bro. So, grew up playing against him, and then I was blessed. I played ball at Coffeyville, and then
shout out to Coffeyville.
Shout out to the Red Ravens. Definitely heart right there.
A lot of NFL athletes have gone through there as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we had a whole shitload of athletes to come through, especially when I was there. So I got blessed to play there. And then I did some semi-pro ball. I played for the Kansas City Brigade, the indoor team. Tore my knee up, and then at that time, and then I've always been into music and videography. It was always a passion, and love music.
25-8, man. You were the one who did my first documentary. 25-8. Yeah.
Where we were going. So, yeah, man, I was doing videography and music is my big passion. And so Tyson was actually on a tear through Kansas City. I don't know if y'all ever knew his story too, but the guy was 10-0, 11-0 amateur, 6-0 pro. And at the time when the sport was growing, you know what I mean? And it was at a head in Kansas City, and guys like Jason High and LC.
Shout out to Jason High.
And, James Krause and Zach.
The General.
And these goons were really like coming
Bobby
up.
Volker, Rob Kimmons. I gotta give shout out to all the legends that mentored me.
Yeah, man. So I was actually doing videography and stuff, and for Tyson and my label, Three Kings Royal Empire, we shot Tyson's coming to his first pro fight, and it was called.
Shout out to Kyrie from Three Kings.
Shouts to Kyrie, shouts to Kells, shouts to the whole Three Kings and Major Pack team. Who that Three Kings is still Major Pack, but so we were filming Tyson, and I had a concert one day. This is how I came into the gym, even though we were already.
I remember. I'm gonna let you tell the story.
And I had just did a concert, and I killed it. I mean, I could have swore I killed it.
You killed it. As far as we concerned, you killed it, cuz.
I worked hard, man, and I was just sweating. I was just a little out of breath. And Tyson was like, I remember he was the first one I seen off stage, and he ran up, he gave me a hug, and he was like, God, bro, you killed it. I was like, I love you. And he was like, it's time to get your ass back in the gym.
This nigga breathing a little too heavy to be a high-level athlete like you. Division I prospect was bat. I was like, bro, you breathing a little heavy in your 20s, bro. Like, we can't have you big punting it, bro. We gotta have you in peak shape. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I get it, bro. And I mean, and honestly, from then, man, I remember we were close to the end of your documentary, which we still have up, which is great footage, man. If you guys
go check that out, guys. 25/8.
Yeah, it's called 25/8. But man, we were coming to the end, and I came to the gym, and I never looked back, man. It's so welcoming, and man, it was.
What's crazy? You might have forgot this. My boxing coach, one of the best boxing coaches in the world, in my opinion, Melvin Wesley, is also your cousin, and y'all didn't even realize it till meeting during the documentary.
Yeah, I forgot about
I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that moment that because you niggas always kind of looked alike to me, right? So I remember when you guys started talking, Wesley, and then you guys said your cousins. I'm like, this makes perfect sense. Shout out to Melvin Wesley, one of the best boxing coaches in Kansas City. If you're in the boxing community in the Midwest, everyone knows Melvin Wesley, one of the top coaches we got. Alemio Carter, shout out to him as well. Another few guys I'm gonna have on here. So talking about, because I always said this. So you were one of the best athletes we had in our school, one of the best athletes we had in the state. Coming out of where we're from, that also means the country, right? Like I always say, the best fighters come out of the Midwest, the best wrestlers. You got into the fighting a little later. I was a wrestler, which was a more natural transition. What was it that made you decide from just kind of training to deciding that, after years of being an athlete, having the knee injury, what made you want to get into the cage? Because, this isn't a sport that has the same glory as NFL. There's not the same prospect when you go to a college. Like, what made you want to go in there and take that risk knowing that, the highest level at UFC might not even be an option? And even when you get there, we know, the money ain't like the NFL. What made you say, like, no matter what happens, let me put this work in, the weight cut, because that's what this whole thick boy thing's about, is that lifestyle. Yeah. And I love these stories of people who just, do it for the love. Talk about what that was like. What made you want to just say, no matter what happens, I want to get in there and feel it.
To me, man, so me personally, I'm a professional, like through and through, like I'll be at all the practices, I'll come, and I'm going to put the work in. And I'm a businessman, like to me, like when I was doing, when I took this music and I went hard with my music, man, and I've opened up for Juvenile, for Murphy Lee, been on tour with G.
Tech Nine,
the
legend.
Shouts out to my big homie Tech. Like, like and one thing I was taught was to have your business in order, like the show is the show. The fight is the fight, but the show, like to have all of your business in order, so you can make money. And to me, like, I'm a businessman. So one, I always wanted to be an athlete. That's one why I came back since my just past knee injuries, because to be a professional athlete, that whole thing, like I grew up in a time where like looking up to Bo Jackson and
yeah, man, those were the times, man. Yeah.
Eon and like real athletes that paid like 2 sports, professional sports, like goons, so that's what a real athlete is to me. But then to see how you make money off of it, so that's what I thrive off of, and that's why I even started.
You're one of the biggest ticket sellers as an amateur in Kansas City has, and I always used to try to give guys, even up here, I try to give guys game like, man, I know amateurs making good money in this if you market yourself properly, if you know how to be your own, if you know how to be your own businessman, you don't have to wait for the UFC to get money in this or pivot into something like, like that.
No, and you don't. And knowing that is value. And when you have that type of value, then you can, when you go and these promoters come to you and say, hey, I want you to fight, then you can say, yeah, sure, no problem. But not for that 500 and 500, or
yeah, I need them percentages.
I need them percentages added in, and so, to me, it was always like, man, I could always do more, so like, I know that I was hearing the stories like, man, I'm not getting paid for this and I'm not doing that. But
still the story now, man. Still, we see our biggest fighters in the UFC still saying it.
Right. But like, to me, it's like, okay, so I'm going to wear Major Pack. That's my brand. I do music. So I'm coming out to my own song. So you're going to hear my song and then you're going to go listen to it and find it and download it. Then I'm going to put the video on my website, yep. On my YouTube page, and then I'm going to have my fighters post it. Like, it's all about having yours too. And,
Major Pack got a roster now, bro, full of UFC fighters. Major Pack got a roster. You know what I mean? You guys got a roster now. So actually, let's just dive right into that. So, obviously everybody knows the ultimate, we have our old school legends. We got our Bobby Volkers, our Rob Kimmons, our LC, but everyone knows the guy who's really broke Kansas City and really made us mainstream is James Krause. Talk about what it's been like, especially, like I said, coming back after all those years, what it's been like to be there for this, because it's literally been an explosion. What's happened in Kansas City. I've said it before, he's the best coach in the world, and that's not, at one point it was a bias. Now, show me the numbers. Show me 17 UFC fighters in another gym. How many homegrown? Show me a gym that's doing what Krause is doing. And I think I can stand on that now when I say it.
Not Dana Krause.
Dana Krause, shit, you might as well at this point. They might as well just make one avatar of the two because they're basically the same guy. They need to get my guy percentages in the UFC.
Bro, Dana White, when I got a chance to meet him when Dawson, Molina, and Onama fought, I was out there and I got to meet Dana White, and he said the exact same thing about James, man. Like,
it's the truth.
I introduced myself. I was like, hey, I'm Mac Mobile Green. I fight out of Glory MMA. And he just literally was like, oh, under James. And I was like, yeah, man. He was like, dude, that guy's doing some great shit. Literally.
Something special, man. And he's only starting, man. When you look at his age, bro, like, where will he be when he's Dwayne Ludwig's age? Where will he be when he's Henry, like, Javier Mendez, like, the guy out of,
turned 40.
He's still fighting. You know what I mean? Like, where is he going to be when he's 40, 45? It's scary to think what that – and then, you look at what he did with Trey, who I didn't even know Trey was going to keep fighting. He opened up that second location. Now they have a UFC fighter because of him. I mean, it's scary to think what this guy's doing before the age of 40. I mean, this is unheard of, I think, in any sport. I don't think there's a boxing coach, any combat sport athlete that can say they're doing what he's doing and still active. That's the scary part, is he's still winning fights, beating people up. So what's it been like watching this growth? We've all known Molina since a youth. I think he's going to be our first world champ, and I'm standing on that. What's it been like to watch these guys growing? And it seems like every week I see a new post, and you guys got another UFC fighter.
It's chilling. Like, literally, I've got chills literally just talking about it. Like, man, I've seen so many people. Like, as of right now, I think we've got 17 UFC
That's the last he said, yeah.
In the gym. This morning, we had 70 fighters on the mat. And
that's crazy.
There was like 21 UFC fighters And then there was, I know, 2 Bellator guys.
I was gonna say we're not even talking about Bellator. We ain't even gonna add. We haven't even gotten into that. If you add in how many Bellator guys he's got too.
Yeah, or the LFA guys. Like there was like 5 LFA guys. Like Johnny Eplin's been in all week from Bellator. You know, he just got that big knockout. Fucking.
Yeah, you guys got guys from here in Canada. I don't even know who've left. Went to Kansas City. They're beating up guys like. So this is another interesting. So another guy I definitely want to have on is the Kansas City legend, the Bandit, Jason High. What's it been like? Because back when I was there, I was splitting my time between both gyms. I always used to say, you remember Kansas City's my gym. What's it been like now to have those 2 guys under the same roof? Something that I think should have happened a decade ago, right? Like, what's it been like to have those 2 minds? Yeah, we got to. To have a guy who college wrestling background, Division I, was in the UFC, was winning fights, black belt under Ricardo Borio, and then these are 2 guys that could be doing their own thing, and at one point were. It was a little friendly competition, we'll say. What's it like to have those 2 minds, both active, still athletic, and coaching in the gym? I mean, I don't know if there's a gym in the world that has that type of advantage.
And feeling in good spirits and still having connections outside. Like there's no bad blood nowhere in their tanks. You know what I mean? Like Krause can reach out to his people. High can still reach out to his people. LC still talks to Isaac. Like everybody is still active. You still talk to James. Like
I talk to everybody, man. Listen, I've been just like when I was in Kansas City, I preached the choir of Toronto. Now that I'm back in Toronto, I preach the choir of Kansas City. You know what I mean? Like the same way I used to, hype up things here, it's the same thing. And now, like I said, man, like, even when I came back here and used to brag about where I trained, even I couldn't have foreseen 5 years from now, like when I say I know, these guys down in your glory, the reaction is just kind of like I always bring up when I lived in Kansas City, the difference between before Drake and after. You tell people if you're from Toronto now, it's lit. Kansas City, same thing, bro. It wasn't. Well, they didn't treat me the same in 2016.
I'm going to give you a shout out, bro, because I remember before we moved to our new house, Glory's in their new house right now, when they were still at the old house and Top Team was still at Top Team. And LC had just went over to, to Glory. And you were telling
when he first started splitting camp. Yeah.
Like, bro, you should start going to get some time over there at Glory. And you're like, bro, you should just do it, go get some work in with Krause, blah, blah, blah. Well, about that time, that was probably about the time Jeff and him hooked up. Like Jeff was coming, and Jason was doing like weekend practices over there.
Oh, we gotta give a shout out to the homie Jason, the Vanilla Gorilla. You know what I mean? Yeah, Jason Witt was doing that before. Me and him were the 2, you know what I mean? Like, he was doing that from time. Also another guy who finally made it to the UFC, well-deserved. Go continue.
But yeah, man. And so, just you were telling me to put the time in. And so now, man, like down that time's gone by, everybody's a little older and mature. It's really working, bro. Like it's a house. That's a real house. You come in there, people are going to hold you accountable, whether it's Grant Dawson, Jason High, freaking Austin Ford, like all the coaches.
Tim Elliott, we can go on and on of OG legends.
The girls, Gina Gradanzik,
shout out to Elle Wagman, who will be in the UFC soon too. You know what I mean? Shout out to her as well. A thick girl.
Shout out Alexa Colt too. She's on a freaking tear out here. Like
Megan Anderson fought for a world title, which was still big for the sport as female, especially in Kansas City. You gotta give all these shout outs, man.
Yeah, man. So, man, just to see everybody, me, I got a heart of gold, bro, and I just love. So to see everything come together is just like, it feels
finally,
good.
Bro. I'm so happy, bro.
Oh, and like, to where. If I've got, because like someone like me, like I'm more of aggressive. I like to strike, but aggression grappling brings chaos. So you need to wrestle, right? So to me, it's good to have somebody like a Grant Dawson in your corner. You know what I'm saying?
Jason, Division I Damascus wrestler, like high level wrestler, Jason.
Yeah, have Jason's, or okay, you're going against a big striker. Then you got your James Krause, who's tricky and who's a scientist, or you got Austin Ford, who's a real boxer, bro. Who Ford's got them hands. Don't ever get it.
And he's been working with MMA guys for years. He understands the difference between boxing, and MMA. Yeah.
Meet UFC flyweight Jeff El Jefe Molina. Where's home? Right here. Glory MMA and Fitness. Jefe puts in at least 36 hours a week in the gym, so sometimes muscles get stiff and joints get tight. So what's he use for recovery? Sub-Zero by Major Pack. Sub-Zero increases mobility, is a fast-acting formula, has 500 milligrams of hemp extract, and long-lasting relief.
You want maximum recovery? Sub-Zero by Major Pack.
All right, we're back. Hope you guys enjoyed that Major Pack commercial. So before we get into the conversation I want to have with you, to kind of tell people more about what's going on with Major Pack, everyone kind of sees the logo in the background. I know you guys have some big news. I'm guessing we're going to be the first ones that get the break. So let everybody know what's going on with Major Pack and what you guys got coming these next few months.
So it's still I really, really wanted to have the official drop and say everything today.
Whatever you're allowed, man. Whatever exclusive you could give the thick boys, you got to give us the exclusive, man. Give us that exclusive drop.
Right. It's like it's out there, but it's out there already. So what we're doing is we're bringing the Major Cannabis Expo to Kansas City. Major is a cannabis conference where we're looking to have over 100 vendors with everything from seed sales to just simple business to graphic designers to lawyers to politicians. I mean, anybody who's a businessman in the industry. We're going to have them showcasing their booths at the expo. We're also looking to have seminars there that day too. And we got guest speakers coming in. We're going to bring special guests in. So it's going to be huge, man. And this is going to be on March 19th. So everybody in Kansas City, be on the lookout. Major Cannabis Expo coming to Kansas City. I'm not going to tell you where just yet.
I know. I ain't going to say nothing. You told me. Major. Pun intended.
But March 19th, that is St. Patrick's Day weekend. It's already a green weekend, which is kind of cool because if you're from Kansas City, we normally host a round of the college tournament. Well, this is the first year that we're not hosting.
The Big 12, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got the Big 12, the 9th, which is the weekend before. And then the weekend after that, we generally would host a round of the tournament. Well, we're not doing that this year. So guess what? Major Pack step.
Major. I'm going to try to get the homie Sean from Gas Tank to make a representation for Toronto down there. Are you able to talk about what you guys are doing with FAC, Krause's fight promotion? Are you able to kind of get into that? I remember you told me some big news going on with what they got with Dana White and everything. So talk about that.
Yes, we do. So, man, that's also a great thing going on. So we've got the Major Cannabis Expo in March. Before that, even we have the first weekend of February. I want to say the 6th, February 6th. Yep, February 6th at the Cable Dahmer Arena. We have FAC presents Dana White looking for a fight. If
you guys aren't familiar with that, that's the show where Dana White goes to local promotions and he basically looks to sign top guys. I know Trey Ogden, shout out to Trey, just got on with one for Fury. And you've been sponsoring a lot of FAC fighters and the promotion. So that's huge to have Dana White even anywhere near your logo and probably sign another Kansas City fighter.
Yeah, and blessed, man. We have been blessed to work with UFC Fight Pass. So you have our commercials get ran on UFC Fight Pass. Our logos are displayed on UFC.
It's huge, man.
Commercials. All of our.
How many UFC fighters do you got repping the brand now? It's a good problem when somebody asks you that question, you don't know the answer.
Right.
That's a good problem. I can tell you right now, we have 3. Shout out to Julian Marquez. Shout out to Hefe. Shout out to our boy Chris Bar. You know, it's a point. You have to think how many UFC fighters rock with me. Damn, that's a lot. That's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem. We definitely have a few, and it's growing. And it's not even just UFC, man. There's so many badass promotions. You know, UFC may be the most well-known and at the top, but I'm not knocking any of these other promotions. You know,
you got guys on LFA, Bellator, and FAC now is becoming one of the shows where you want to fight if you want to get in the UFC. People know that's a real show.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Anybody that's come to fight on the FAC card, man, like that whole production is UFC. You know what I mean?
Man, Kraus, like I said, man, Kraus, and shout out to Joe Wooster, my old manager, like legends, man. When you think about all these things, some guys only focus on a fight promotion and can't get to where he got FAC. Some people are only a fighter, can't get to I mean, you think about how many hats this guy has put on that some people can't even get to that level as one focus. It's unreal, man. I can't wait for the James Krause How to Run a Business book, bro. You know what I mean? Like, Krause, we got to get you on here soon.
Yeah, you definitely got to get JK on here for sure, man. And, you know, that's one thing I really like about Krause is that I know he's got his hand in a million different pots, kind of like myself. And, you know, like, the more we get to know each other, I know he respects me for who I am because I do that, and I run a business, and I do have kids, and I'm a man, you know, and, you know, I know he does. He's like, dang, you know, I do go in and I put my time in the gym, but, you know, it counts when you see someone like, you can look at Krause and call him successful for fighting, or if you never knew him from fighting, if
coaching,
and you just saw him coaching, you would still say he was successful. Or if you didn't know,
FAC.
if you just were like, well, damn, I bought a house from Krause, you'd be like,
yeah. Man's in real estate too.
Yeah, you're like, his houses are good, you know? So,
shout out to Jason High as well. Jason High doing his thing with the real estate.
With the real estate, you know? So it's like, man, guys like that are, you know, those are the guys I love to be around, you know, guys that are.
All right, so perfect. So you took the bait, so let's get into it. So talking about being businessmen and all this stuff, let's talk about somebody who's been very controversial in the MMA and boxing world, Jake Paul. I know a guy who you're not a fan of, but the numbers have come out. Our boy Woodley made more money than any UFC champion did all this year. I'm hearing numbers that if you collect every single UFC champ's pay collectively, he still made more money than them fighting Jake Paul, and he had a 4-fight losing streak. Is Jake Paul good for the combat sports or bad?
Are you letting him win? Are you?
Hey, well, listen. I've said this, so I'm gonna say this.
That's what I'm gonna say.
I'm not gonna act like I'm best friends with Tyrone, but we all know him from the dirt growing up. I remember when he was an amateur. I don't know how you believe he's the man we think we know he is if we think he's taking L's like that on purpose. And I know for sure that Ben Askren did not get to the level as an Olympian. Guys don't get to that level of wrestling or fighting and have the ability to just take those type of – he ain't faking no body shot. He ain't faking no split decision. You're letting this guy knock your head off. I don't know how much integrity you can have as a man. So you tell me. I think Woodley got more integrity than that to how much money do you need? How much money can the man pay you?
Yeah, because the first one is like, okay, yeah, you may
whatever.
Into fight.
That second one?
And then you hit me like that, bro. Bro, you green lit.
So is he good or bad? Because that's how I said before. If it's a fake fight, I can't tell the way Woodley was throwing them punches.
Or is he good for MMA or is he good for boxing?
I'm saying both.
They're two totally different.
So, okay, which one? Do you think he's good for either one at all?
He's better for boxing.
Okay.
Better for boxing.
So I would argue he's better for MMA, and let me tell you why. He is shining a light on fighter pay that no UFC fighter. Randy Couture was the world champ, sat down and went on strike and couldn't get this type of attention from mainstream media. People forget when he was world champ. People forget he doesn't mess with the UFC at all. When's the last time you've seen a Randy Couture? Francis Ngannou is the heavyweight world champ, trains out of Extreme Couture. Look at what's going on with him in the UFC.
Yeah.
Secondly, can you think of a better retirement plan than going to fight Jake Paul if you're an MMA fighter?
Right. No. I mean, okay, so in the sense that you're talking, okay, if you're talking like is Jake Paul sport to like for like money and like the better well-being of a fighter, yes, he is definitely.
That's all that matters.
I thought you were saying like for the show, like is he a good fight? That's what I was thinking you were saying. Like
well, let me say, I have a question. So you know the deal he tried to make with Dana where he said he would fight Jorge Masvidal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said he's going to the USADA pool. Do you think there's a UFC fight that has been shown in the last 2 years outside of Conor? Conor's Conor. Is there a fight that would sell more pay-per-views than that? If Jake Paul stepped into the UFC cage under the UFC banner and fought Jorge Masvidal, is there anything bigger you can think I don't know if Conor could outsell now with how he's been fighting. I don't think the UFC would. It would be the craziest thing I think we've ever seen.
Just because he's like the thing is that it's gonna sell because one, he's not a UFC fighter. So when you're bringing an outside entity in, the unknown of what the hell Jake's gonna do is gonna bring buyers. You know what I mean?
I agree.
People that are like, well, what the fuck? I just want to see. You know what I mean? Like, is he skillfully gonna get in there and hold it down?
But do people care? Remember, CM Punk didn't get to that level, and he was a famous WWE guy. He clearly sucked. Jake Paul right away will get to be a main event, and no matter what happens, we're going to be entertained. If you hate Jake Paul, you want nothing more than to see Jorge Masvidal kick, punch, flying knee him upside his head.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more that all the Jake Paul haters want more than to see him get humbled, and he would get humbled in the UFC. Yeah, I do think a boxing match would be a different story because I have mad respect for Tyron. I know what kind of athlete that guy is. I don't think Nate Diaz is that type of athlete. I think it'd be a rude awakening for all these guys if they think Tyron is a punk. I think it'd be a rude awakening for all of them if they go fight. People forget who Tyron was losing to. Champ level guys.
Yeah.
He wasn't losing to punks in the UFC.
Right.
I think there'd be a rude awakening for all these MMA guys if they think Tyron's past his prime. I don't think he is at all.
No, I don't think so. But I think that, man.
I had to get you, bro. I had to get you, cuz.
That's messed up, bro.
I had to because it's such an interesting conversation right now. And look at Anderson Silva. You know, what if Anderson gets to go fight Jake Paul? Tell me that wouldn't be one of the best things to ever happen to a former UFC fighter who's gone through what he's went through.
And Anderson Silva's big long ass might actually stick it to him.
Bro, am I right? I kept saying the culmination of all this would be his first loss being to like Anderson Silva. And Anderson making more money than he ever made in the UFC.
Yeah, for real.
That's my dream for this whole Jake Paul experience is the person who finally beats him is like Anderson or you know Vitor Belfort's fighting Chad Dawson?
Yeah, I do know that.
I don't think that's a good idea. Bro, he's fighting a real boxer.
But,
Evander Holyfield.
Evander Holyfield, thank you. Yeah.
Now he's fighting Chad Dawson, which I think I don't know what kind of shape Chad Dawson is, but that ain't Evander Holyfield, bro. He may not be the name, but if you know boxing and he's young, I think Vitor's in for a rude awakening.
And TRT tour.
Ooh, TRT Vitor's the GOAT. So honest question, when you talk about this whole situation, why do you think it is that Dana is deflecting and talking about this cocaine? Like, nobody cares if a billionaire does cocaine. I don't want to. Like, who cares whether or not you test for cocaine? I want to see Jorge Masvidal and Jake Paul fight in a cage. Why do you think it is that Dana is avoiding an obvious deal that is better for every MMA guy in the world, which is he has to come to your sport, he has to fight one of your top guys who we all know will put the whoops on him, and fighter pay goes up? What do you think it is that
I mean, now when you got to think when it comes to now, I know Dana's president and all, but you know there's a board and stuff, and so I don't know, and I could be wrong. I don't know if just because Jake wants all these things to happen, like if Dana can just sign off and the shit happens.
I don't think he can.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think he can.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, so I think.
Oh, it's a bluff. I think it's a bluff. I think I think Jake is calling his bluff, and he knows he has a trump. I think he knows it's a bluff.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Litigation and shit that he can't, that Jake knows that like he can't uphold to it, you know? And so it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, is Jake saying good stuff? He's saying great things.
You see Amanda Serrano just came out and said she'll fight Amanda Nunes now?
No, I didn't see that.
Bro, it's getting bad for her. So she came out and said she will also go into the cage to fight Amanda Nunes if Dana agrees to it.
But man,
tell me Amanda Nunes don't want that payday. Tell me, and she just came off a loss? What? All these UFC fighters are like, wait, what? It's not looking good.
Did you watch the triad combat with Shannon Briggs and Rampage?
I didn't get to watch it, but I've been following the back and forth between them and what's been going on with that, yeah.
Okay, so shout out Alexa Culp. She's from Glory. She was the first female to fight on that card, scored the first knockout ever, and got fight of the night, won the $50,000, and then bro, she does a foster care program here in KC right now. The little chick's like 20, 21 years old, right?
Well, see, Glory's so big, I can't even keep track with my own cities. Like, I had no idea about any of that.
Yeah, bro, and then then Triad gave her an extra $50,000 for her to start a foundation.
So this is what I think Jake Paul's point is, guys, you're being lied to. The pockets are deeper than you realize. And he's showing it with these new promotions coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to. Like,
he's exposing.
Bro, like she made way more money. It was like 5 2-minute rounds. They were sparring for
sparring and May gloves, and they box, yeah.
Poofies, and they box, right? And you can clinch.
And this chick isn't even somebody we know. Do you know how many more UFC fighters she probably made more money than they did all year?
Bro, she made over $100K basically. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of UFC fighters do not want to hear that.
Made over 100,000, bro.
A lot of UFC fighters don't not.
She's an evil fighter.
Bro, look at Floyd Mayweather with Risen. They paid him $9 million to go beat up a little tension. And if you know Muay Thai, you know bro, most people had no idea what that kid was. I did because I followed this. $9 million for that quick work. And you're telling me the UFC doesn't have money to pay Francis? They don't have money to pay John Jones, the GOAT? It's not looking like this Francis Ngannou thing's going to get sticky. If he wins this fight, he has one more fight after that. This is not a good look to have this many people talk about fighter pay. It is not a good look for the UFC right now.
The whole point of social media is doing its job, you know, at this point. And like before, bro, like that's kind of like what I was saying when this whole thing first started. Remember when you were like, bro, what made you want to be an athlete and all this? It was the fame and growing up on TV, seeing guys on TV and seeing these athletes on TV and stuff. That was cool. Well, now that shit, it's not about just going on TV, because that stardom isn't as big when I got my cell phone. I can record you and then I can put you up on the internet and you're getting just as many pulls as somebody that's on TV. You know what I'm saying?
Fighters have podcasts now. They're talking about Tyron and Jake might do a podcast together now because of the back and forth. Like, you know, and this was kind of my point, because I remember Krause was one of the smartest guys I know, where he always talk about, I'm a company man. You chose this life. And, you know, this comes from a guy who's been around so long. You got to love it to stay as long as Krause did, right? Like, you just got to love this shit. And he said, I'm a company man. This is what I chose. But, you know, I look at it and say, man, not everybody has that business acumen. Not everybody's that smart. Not everybody reads books. Not like a lot of these fighters, they're on a one-track mind. You know, the Krauses of the world are one in literally a billion. Even you're not in the UFC. I see you doing things that every UFC fighter should be doing what you're doing. Yeah. Like, to some extent.
Yeah.
You know, these are rare things. And so when I see a guy like Jake Paul coming in and saying, guys, I'm making this money purely because I'm doing the promotion that you guys can do yourself. You guys are an entity. You don't need these people to do this for you. I always say, it reminds me of the Conor thing. Nobody wants to talk about it, but the fact of the matter is, like, do as many people know who Andre Ward or Joe Calzaghe is as Floyd Mayweather? Why? Because of this. People hate this. But Conor McGregor, I'm sorry, there's no Khabib without Conor being a big mouth. Nobody would have cared if you beat up Conor and Conor was some humble, quiet. You need that type of energy in your sport. And I look at the Jake Paul thing the way I look at the Conor McGregor thing. Everybody ran their mouth till they saw what fighter pay became when he showed them what's possible. I think Jake is doing what I wish Conor was still able to do, because Conor now isn't where he used to be. Khabib left, and you got to respect Khabib, but, the UFC kind of needed Khabib to stay, and he didn't. He said, I got a family, I got health.
Yeah, he OG.
I don't know why more MMA guys aren't behind this Jake Paul thing. Like, he's a former wrestler. We should know better than anybody how high-level wrestling translates to fighting. So it's just confusing to watch boxers, millionaires. Mike Tyson's a millionaire. To watch them show more support to MMA guys who are trying to get out the mud, it's a weird disconnect, because I see the same thing that happened with Conor. There's this disconnect where they don't get it. Like, this is good for you. This is attention that we wouldn't be getting. You don't think Nate Diaz can't wait to get out of his contract and go fight Jake and make $10 million?
Right.
He ain't re-signing with the UFC. He's not. Well, like, I'll go take the Jake Paul fight. Tyron Woodley lost 4 fights in a row. You think Tyron's mad about not re-signing with the UFC right now?
He's like, you can keep that belt. Good job, Usman.
He got knocked out. Did y'all see the people he was fighting in the UFC? Gilbert Burns, Colby Covington, Kamaru, who might be the GOAT, Vicente Luque. And what was he making? I'll go take my chances with these boxing gloves, bro. Like,
what do you think he was making? Like a quarter a fight? Or was he?
So I know he's made millions because he had that old Strikeforce contract, but that's another thing people forget is how much beef Tyron Woodley had when he was champ. I watched that, and I remember siding with him many times when people hated on Tyron about fighter pay. Now look at Francis Ngannou. Now look at John Jones. I mean, now you can't really look at Tyron the way people used to hate on him, man. Like, that's why I say I don't think he took a fall. I think he knew there was way more money to make in a rematch. And people forget, they say Jake cleared like $20 million. That's $20 million loss if Tyron doesn't step up.
Yeah.
People want to ignore that. He doesn't have to take a fall. I'm making you money that you went through a whole 8-week camp. Tommy Fury disappears. That's $20 million out of your pocket in 2 months worth of work. I don't need to take a fall. I'm saving this whole card. Amanda Serrano became a millionaire because of Tyron Woodley. She needs to go throw him a bag for showing up.
She probably
needs. And like I said, bro, that elbow to the head, Tyron looked like he was trying to knock his head off. I don't know what about you, but a lot of people get punched by Tyron like that. It's off with your head. I don't see a guy who's trying to lose a fight. Like, you know what I mean? So I hope he gets another fight with him. He probably won't, but yeah, I want to see the Anderson Silva. That's how I want to see this movie end. It's to Anderson Silva be the guy to knock Jake Paul out, make $10 million, go off into the sunset.
Yeah, that's a good, closing to the show for sure, for sure.
Even his brother, they're talking about his brother fighting Anderson Silva.
I don't like, okay, I think that was you. I think we were chopping out I think you had said something to me about him, about his brother, but I just don't think Logan has you tell me Logan Paul's fighting and like I'm not hyped. You know what I mean? Like,
no, it's not. He's not. He just has a fan. I agree.
You know what I mean? Like even
totally
the Logan Paul Floyd show, like
people forgot about that. There were people who talk about the Jake thing who forgot that he fought. He had to remind people, like, you do know I fought the greatest fighter of all time. Like, we're talking about him fighting Tyron Woodley. I fought. People forgot about it.
Yeah, ain't nobody care, bro. Like, honestly, like, I mean,
and this is another thing I bring up. Thank you for bringing that up. Logan is the richer guy. He has more of a following.
More following.
Why can't Logan pay somebody to fake a split decision? He has 0 wins. You're telling me Jake can get somebody to let them knock their head off, maybe damage them for the rest of it, but you can't even pay somebody to fake let me hit you with a body shot and drop to a knee. You letting YouTubers beat you? I'm not, you want me to believe KSI has more pride as a YouTuber than Tyron Woodley? I'm not buying that. I think these guys are really taking wins and losses. Logan Paul still has 0 wins on his record. How? You fighting YouTubers, bro. They're standing on their career and they're legendary, but Tyron Woodley's willing to just become a meme, and I'm not buying that, bro. Former Olympians.
I mean, that's where, bro, but if like back to the in early times, like boxing in the fight game is the dirtiest game.
It's some snake shit. It's some snake shit.
of all games. So
It's snake shit.
I mean, and I mean.
So this is another perfect example. Tyrone, so you're supposed to fight Tommy Fury, right?
Yeah.
Gypsy King, we know there was some very controversy with the Wilder fight, Gypsy activities. Why doesn't Tommy just take the fall and get paid? Why pull out of the fight? If you have a rib injury and you're there to take a fall, what's the difference? Why'd he pull out of the fight? I asked everybody, I go, guys, if Jake Paul's paying people to take L, why would anybody pull out of a fight if you're there to take L and you have a rib injury? What's the difference? Hit me in my rib, I drop to my knee, 10 seconds, I get 10 million.
Oh, yeah, shit. Yeah.
Why would you need to pull in a last minute and then pay them to take the fall?
All right.
Why not Tommy just take the fall? Who's Tommy? Who's Tommy Fury outside of his brother?
That's because it's like that. It's the name. It's
exactly.
The whole name.
Why not take the fall?
That's kind of why I feel like even with the Logan Paul, it's a whole name sense. Like, nobody cares, bro.
Logan fought. I didn't even know who this KSI guy was.
Yeah, I was
Who
there.
The fuck is, and this guy won't take a fall?
Bro, he fought KSI at the Staples Center.
That shit was trash.
It was the worst, bro.
And this guy has too much pride, but Tyron Woodley and Ben Askren don't. That's insulting to this town, bro. I will not let y'all disrespect Missouri like that, bro. I know they are Missouri Tiger wrestlers. You are not disrespecting the town like that, bro. You're not telling me that these guys got less pride than KSI, some YouTuber from England, bro.
I think where people are thinking, on the fact of when you're making $50 million collectively, or let's just say 75 to 100 million for the whole fight promotion and the fighters included, right? So if this is like $100 million freaking ordeal, right? And we're talking Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul, like that's some serious money. That's some shit to talk about. That holds some freaking.
And you know the pay-per-view didn't do that well.
You say KSI and Logan Paul for $1.3 million, it's like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like as an investor, as like the bigger wigs that we don't know that's really putting this shit on, like that's where the shit starts lying. Like, and that's what we don't know is like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I love Tyron's a major pack. He's on the squad.
That's my point. Like it breaks my heart to watch people from Kansas City, from Missouri, act like Woodley would do that, and it breaks my heart. I'm like, damn, bro, like y'all really think this guy is? Do you know how much money he just made in those two fights? You don't need, like, bro, like more money than Israel Adesanya, more money than Oliveira. These guys are going through wars for that money. They're
that's a
blood
tearing the game up.
Justin Gaethje, look what Michael Chandler just went through, and you're telling me two guys from the same camp, not camp, but all three of them Missouri Tigers.
Yep.
Askren was the best out of all three of them. He was an Olympian.
Chandler,
Ben Askren, and Tom Woodley all went to Missouri.
Woodley and,
It goes, Askren was the bigger deal, national champ Olympian, then Woodley, All-American, world UFC title, then Chandler. Look at what Chandler just went through fighting Gaethje. You know what I mean? And you want me to believe these two are taking falls? Nah, man. Woodley had way more to gain by knocking out. Do you know what that does if you knock out Jake Paul? And, bro, I'm telling you, anybody who knows Tom Woodley, sparred with him, knows how hard he hits. He did not throw that punch with the intention of faking it for Jake. He was trying to knock his head off with that punch when he bounced off. That was – I know a lot of guys that are night-night. That did not look like I'm here to fake with you. He looked like he tried to knock his head clean off. I thought that was it. I thought that was the beginning of the end in that first fight. I was like, oh, this is it. Like, he caught him. And then, you know, so I kind of want to give it. So before we go, you know, the best producer in the game, Phallon, is give me the roundup. Give everybody, you know, more info. This is your chance to plug yourself. You know, when are you competing next? What's the next big thing for Major Pack? Any fighters you want to talk about? Instagram, YouTube. I mean, you got a lot, man. So this is your chance. You know, 2 minutes to just plug yourself, man. Let's hear it.
Once again, thank Thick Boy Fight Club. Shouts out Phallon. Shouts out T-Dot. I see you out there. But what's next? Like I said, everybody make sure you check us out. We will be at the FAC fights February 6th. Actually, even before that, we've got fighters fighting on Apex. Shout out to Zach Cummings. He's got a promotion in Kansas City. Apex. That's next week. I think January. I think Martin Luther King weekend, actually. So, like the 16th. So we've got Apex fight. So Major Pac will have fighters fighting on that. Shout out to Alan Alevis, and Kendrick Lashman. And then shout out Kendrick. And then
he's a big boy.
In February, we've got Dana White coming to Kansas City. Shout out Dana. Shout out Joe. Shout out the whole FAC team.
James Krause, the whole gang.
James Krause, the whole crew. We've got so many fighters on that. That'll be a gangster card. Niall Bartlett, Isaac Dogarian.
All kinds of contracts about to be handed out.
Yeah, Mikey England, L. Wagman. Sheesh, man. So many people fighting. And then I think Alexa's going to fight again, but not on that card. I think she's got Evicta coming up. So those are my peoples. Shout out my guy, Jeff F.A. Molina, man.
Future UFC champ.
Future UFC champ. Shout out to him to all the great things he did this year, man. He shattered records and stuff. Repped Major Pac. Super, super, super tough, man.
And Thick Boy. Big shout out to him.
Boy, big shouts to him. Much love to everybody at Glory. James Krause, Jason High, freaking Austin Ford, freaking Dawson, Julian Marquez, freaking.
Yep, Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yes, man. Yes. And get well, Juju. Shit. You know, he out here. But everybody, man, those are all my teammates. So shout out everybody at Glory. Also, like I told you guys, March 19th, Major Cannabis Expo. I would want to see all of you guys there. Stay up with us. Go to majorpac.com. We'll have info on there. There's pre-sale tickets available. Honestly, if you guys are smart, you want to get the pre-sale tickets because the price will go up closer to the event. So we've got pre-sale tickets already out and available. Once again, March 19th. Stay with us. And that's pretty much what I've got going on so far. And then my birthday is 4/21, so we're going to turn all the way.
Lit. Well, like I said, man, guys, this has been one of my homies since youth. When I still thought I was going to be a basketball player when I was like 12. Used to ride my bike to get my hair cut with this dude. I've seen him do all these things, go through the lows, the highs, you know what I mean? So happy to see what you're doing with Major Pac, what you're doing with the fight career. Thank you for being our first virtual guest. We expect to have tons of guys from Major Pac on here. A bunch of guys that we just shouted that are both Major Pac and Thick Boy. And yeah, guys, go check out Mac. If you really just want to get an inspiration of how you should be trying to run your career, how you want to promote yourself as a young fighter. We're some old heads, but a lot of y'all young guys have so many tools that we didn't have when we were younger in terms of promoting. This is a guy you should definitely be following. Obviously, you should be following James Krause. And yeah, man, just thank you for being on here. Really appreciate you giving us your time.
Much love, bro. I appreciate y'all. See you soon.
All right, well, I'm Tyson the Beast. That's my guy, Mac Mo Green, and we're Major.
Major.